Yo, what is going on, man? Thank y'all for tuning in to another DnL&x Fitness live stream show today. Yes, sir. Yes. All right, gotta make sure my mic ain't feedback and doing with these headphones. I don't know what's going on. Yes, sir, but thank y'all for tuning in today. We have a good show lined up for you today, man. We are going to be going over our topics, but if you didn't know, we are simultaneously streaming on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and Rumble, so pick whichever one you want to watch on and enjoy the show. We got a good show lined up for you today for sure. And also, if you want to contribute to today's show, the Cash App is Daniel2888. Venmo is Danny-Daniel-00. I think I said that right. I did say it right. Yes, sir. And if you're on YouTube, do me a favor. Hit that like button when you see it pop up on your screen right there. Did it pop up on the screen? Because I got stuff blocking all over my screen. Did it work? Let me see. I'm going to try it again. Did it work? Did it work? Yes, it worked. Okay, cool. So we're good to go. Yes, sir. But thank y'all for tuning in, man. We have a good show lined up for you today. Today is what? What's today? Today's Tuesday. So depending on how your day is going, I'm going to let Mr. Chow break it down to you.
Oh, you're having a bad day? Did you die?
I got shot.
But did you die?
And as long as you didn't become unalive and you are still making it through your work day and whatever day that you're going through, man, as long as you're still alive and making it, you can keep pushing and keep grinding like you're supposed to. I hit the gym earlier this morning. I didn't have time to really switch up yet, but we're good to go. We're still going to make stuff happen. Today, we got a good show lined up for you. We're going to go ahead and talk about all of our topics that we have. We got fitness, economy, and AI. For the fitness portion of the show, I'm going to welcome in a new person to the show today. It's going to be, Joe Delaney, who is going to talk about the economics of a fitness influencer. So we're going to see what he has put together in speaking on the economics of a fitness influencer, because it seems like that can be kind of different for man and woman. So we're going to take a look at it, because it's usually not what you think it is. And a lot of the times whenever you look at the economics of a fitness influencer, that's not really something people look at, but everybody looks at, workout plans and macros and all that stuff like that. But we're going to see his take on it, see if it's something similar or different. We're going to actually give a good look and look at the video and kind of give our 2 cents on it, see exactly how this goes. So I'm going to put my input on it, and I'm going to go ahead and see what he has to say about it. And hopefully he gives us something good, because I haven't watched this video. So it's going to be a blind reaction as I go into it to see exactly what the economics of a fitness influencer are. It's going to be interesting to see for sure. So we'll see how that works. Next, we're going to go into the economy portion of the show. So we got 2 things in the economy portion of the show that I want to talk about today. First one is going to be, what is it? It's going to be the economy, what the economy would look like if AI took over. So an AI economy, basically, which it seems like slowly but surely we're heading in that direction. And we're going to see it more as we progress through the show, because they already got robots walking on the street, but we're going to get to that later on in the AI portion of the show. But we're going to see exactly how this works. So we're going to see what the economics, what an AI economy will look like, and if it's beneficial or detrimental for humans in that case. And then next, in the economy portion of the show, or probably before that, I don't know which way I'm going to do it, we're going to look up something called T.R.A.Ps. T.R.A.Ps is I won't say it's a new thing, but it's clearly been going on for quite a few years, but it's going to be probably brought more to the forefront of the situation now because of the economic downturn that we're going in. So we're going to take a look and see how this goes. And we're going to see exactly what T.R.A.Ps are. It's basically just saying that it's basically a T.R.A.Ps is going to be a agreement that you sign in before you get a job. So therefore, if you train and they train you and you leave before a set amount of time from the agreement, then you have to pay back the amount that they put in for training. Yeah, that's going to be brutal. I think it stands for, was it training repayment assistance provision? Training repayment agreement provisions. There it is. Yes, I think that's what it is right there. So we're going to look into that and see how that works, because they're going to be implementing a lot more stuff now going forward with jobs and corporations. So therefore, when you get a job, you're basically going to be bound there for 1 or 2 years until you pay them back for the training that they provide for you. Because a lot of times people get trained, and the training costs money to train each employee. Well, employees get the training or go halfway through the training and they dip, but not to realize that the company paid somebody to come in and train you, and then they got to recoup the money from training you, and that usually takes quite a bit of a time. So now what they're going to do, which they've already been doing, but I think it's going to go a lot more moving into the future, they're going to go ahead and hit you with a contract before you get the job. So if you try to jump ship within a year or two, you will have to pay back that amount in full. Yeah, it's not looking too shabby, but that's what's moving forward. Then for the AI segment of the show, we're also going to sit down and talk about and look at, we got the robot Riz. Yes, Robo Riz. Bruh. That's his name, Robo Riz. Cowboy robot. Bruh. He's going to go in and we're going to take a look at him. He's actually walking around in California, around Venice Beach, and even in Austin, Texas in some places. And we're going to see how he interacts with the people and see what it's like to have an actual robot walking through the streets and living, you know, life on the outside and, you know, being a part of the human population. So we're going to go take a look at Mr. Robo Riz, or Cowboy Robot, whatever you want to call him, and see how he interacts with humans and people. So it's already happening. Bruh. They're not wasting no time. So before 2030 hit, I'm pretty sure we're going to see robots on the street, because Mr. Robo Riz is going to be on the street, or is on the street already. Then last but not least, also looking at Mr. Robo Riz, we're also going to look at his, I don't know what to call it. I'm going to call it his updated version. So we're going to look at Cowboy Robot Robo Riz, and then we're going to look at his update. His update is called Protoclone. Protoclone is basically the advanced version of the next generation, or the next update, or the next, you know, gen to come out of robots. But this one here, boy, when you see this robot, you're gonna look at the screen and be like, what the fuck? Like, straight up, there's no other way to look at it. You're gonna look at this robot and just be like, hold up, like, what is this? What is going on? Bruh. Like, you're gonna have to look at him sideways, because this robot, when you see Protoclone and see how he's moving and grooving and operating, moving his fingers and his hands and the way his body moves, this is gonna be, yeah. I mean, when you see it, I'm pretty sure, where is it? Where's my soundbite at? When you see it, the only thing you're gonna think is this. Yep, the ending of the movie Terminator is what you're going to want to see, because it's about to get real. Oh, yeah, it's about to get real. It's already getting real now, but AI taking over one job. But when you see Protoclone at the end of the show, wait till you see Protoclone. I'm telling you. I saw clips of it and I was like, ooh, we in trouble. I mean, really, when I seen it, I was just like, boy. I just had to shake my head. I was like, yep, it's over. We are done for. I was just like, yep, Protoclone's going to come in. And then when you start updating Protoclone, it's a rap ski. It is a rap ski. Bruh. Well, with that being said, we're going to, oh, and I forgot to do something before. I didn't do it.
It's partly cloudy with a high of 88 degrees Fahrenheit in Houston.
Shut up.
Is there another image I can try? I'm here to help you create all types of things.
Oh, okay. Stop talking, sweetie. Where is that coming from? Oh, I got it. We'll mute that right there. There we go. Okay. Sheesh, my AI started talking to me. That's kind of scary. All right. AI just had a mind of her own. We had to calm her down. Bruh. With that being said, y'all, we're going to go ahead and jump into the first segment of the show, which is the fitness portion of the show. So let me get my banner up here real quick and go ahead and get it started. So we're going to go ahead and look at the economy of the fitness influencer, starting Joe Delaney, who is a really good YouTuber. I've been watching him for quite some time. I enjoy his videos. So we're going to take a look at him and see how things go. But before we do, let's go ahead and get our intro going.
Let's get ready for the fitness segment of the show.
Okay, there we go. We got the thing going. All right, let's get it. All right, so we're gonna pull up on the screen and we're gonna go ahead and take a look. Bam, as you see, Mr. Delaney's not playing around. He's about to do a little look. It looks like he's about to start playing with his nose, but I'm gonna digress. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video, but let me change that banner before we keep going. And Joe, take it away. Here we go.
How do fitness influencers really make money? How much do they make? Why are they all so rich? Except me. Why aren't I rich? Let's find out. This is the economics of fitness influencing. By me, a semi-retired and increasingly obsolete fitness person on the internet. We'll go roughly in order from least to most profitable income stream. First, look down here. When you buy through those links, we get commission, usually 10%, but sometimes a lot more or a bit less. It's a small proportion of total income, but it's still worth doing because really any amount of money is worth copy and pasting some links for.
What's wrong? You had a hard day at work?
It's just a lot of copy and pasting, you know. Just a lot. But let's go back, because before this video, there was probably an ad. Companies bid for that ad space based on how much money they think you've got, and the revenue is split between YouTube and the creator. The video creator, not God. So if this was a finance channel, they'd pay more for that ad space because people who watch videos about what to do with their money generally have money. So finance has a high CPM. Fitness is mid to low range. This is how much YouTube paid me for a few different videos, and this amount increases when more people click on or watch the ad all the way through. People don't really get rich directly from this because by the time you get enough views to make crazy money this way, you probably already got rich one of the following ways. But first, it's just time for a quick word from our sponsor. Not really, this video isn't sponsored, but if it was, this is where I talk about a VPN or shaving your balls or something.
Okay, so far he's doing really good. He's basically breaking every single thing down piece by piece by piece, which is pretty accurate. I enjoy this, and that's funny. The Manscaped shaving your balls, that is hilarious. Or T. Hingely, or all them other ones. But let's continue.
And because most sponsors ask for a 90-second slot in the first few minutes of the video. Once you hit good numbers, companies will be emailing you like, yo, sell our stuff and we'll give you some money. Sometimes a lot of money, and most of the time you'll be like, thanks, but what does this even do? So you say no a lot more than you say yes, partly out of a healthy sense of shame, because if you sell everything, people will think you're not cool, and partly just because most of it is kind of uninteresting, you know, like ball shaving utensils. It's not really living the dream, man. But sometimes you say yes, and then you've got to tell them a price, and that's hard to come up with because there's no precedent for this. So I usually just keep asking for more until people say no. That does sound like boundless greed, but really it's the only way to gauge what's fair, and most of the ads I do, I get asked to do again, so it obviously is fair. Maybe I'm still cheap, maybe that's why I'm not rich. I've done sponsored segments for a few £100s, and I've done them for 10,000. Notice how I said the actual number there instead of saying 5 figures. When everyone gets so mysterious, man. But these days, 5k is pretty standard. Compare that to the YouTube ad revenue and see what I meant earlier. By the time you're making good money from that, you should already be making really good money from that. Sponsored Instagram posts will earn a bit less than YouTube because even though the reach may be broader, it's also more shallow, i.e. views don't convert into sales at the same rate. By the way, guys, if you want to buy this thing, you can use my code at checkout for 10% off. Don't buy the thing. It's not even for sale. Unless for the right price, obviously. Let's talk about the bread and butter of fitness influencer income, the long...
All right, so far it's so good. So he's breaking down the many different ways of racking up income from a fitness influencer. So you kind of see how like fitness influencers, they end up making money via YouTube a bunch of different ways, and then they turn around, it's like you don't even see them like lifting a weight anymore or doing nothing fitness related. They don't do anything fitness related anymore. It's just like, all right, well, I'm banking over here on YouTube. They, you know, stop doing their coaching or whatever it is they're doing, or they just keep running it up, which makes sense. This makes perfect sense. So he's going into detail, and I kind of like it. So let's continue. It's actually about halfway.
Term sponsorship, most often taking the form of gym clothing and supplements. You sign a contract and commit to set monthly deliverables for a base fee plus commission plus product allowance. The sponsor gets a better rate than paying for individual posts, and the influencer gets some steady income. Monthly fees depend on the number and type of posts, but commission will usually be circa 10%, which can become substantial because it's usually big brands that lots of people buy from already, and those people just have to like you enough to use your code, which you convince them to do by A, being a pleasant individual, and B, saying use my code at every possible opportunity. I don't have any sponsors right now, but I have before, and this is what my salaries and deliverables have looked like.
Over 8,000 men have permanently broken free from the P word.
All right, then we just dive right into prawn. As I see, they're like, all right, let's jump right into cheek clapping. All right, we're gonna go from fitness to clapping cheeks. All right, they did that on purpose. I think they hear him talking. I think that's why they did that. But so far so good. So we've seen the many different breakdowns and many different ways to make money, and this is just off of YouTube. I think he mentioned some off of like social media platforms, but then again, it's like, how long does it last? Because right now, if you look right here on the screen, he has 2016 YouTube IG post, and he has 2023 YouTube mentions, 3 IG posts, 5 stories. So as you can see, I don't know if he still has this sponsor. Well, no, he still doesn't have any sponsors now, but they come and go. Basically, they come, they go. So far we're seeing the different stuff that they have going on. So pretty interesting, but let's continue. Oh wait, let me turn the mute button off. Here we go.
I actually do now, but when I wrote the notes for this video, I didn't. So there will be links in the descriptions. Now, eventually, fitness influencers have a realization and ask themselves, what if, instead of selling stuff for other people, I sell my own stuff? And this can take a variety of forms. Option 1, somebody else makes a batch of t-shirts with your slogan on the front and you sell them. No new company is ever incorporated, but people will still put CEO in their bio and say things like, been working so hard on this behind the scenes, can't wait for you guys to see it, because, they're trying to build hype, but then you do see it and it's just a t-shirt. This is something like a 50-50 profit share, so it can be very lucrative considering how little work you actually have to do. Option 2. Let's take a second to talk about option 2 because you might find this interesting. So there are these companies, one example being Gemflow, but there are others, and they build businesses for influencers, whether it's apps, clothing, courses, supplements. Many brands you recognize will actually be partially owned and or largely operated by Gemflow or similar companies. Usually the company owns a minority of the brand and basically does a lot of the boring and difficult stuff, manufacturing products, dealing with shipping, customer support, whilst the influencer focuses mostly on what they're good at, selling the thing, use my code. So it's a pretty good deal for the influencer, and it's a large part of the reason why you find yourself looking at people online, people who should be pretty busy on account of all the CEO activities, and you think, how are you on holiday all the time? Option 3, actually just start your own business without any help. Whilst you have the potential to make the most money this way, you can still make a lot of money, definitely enough money, and with way less stress, risk, and hassle one of the other ways. So most people don't actually choose this option unless they're a control freak or they just particularly enjoy entrepreneurship. Although I personally chose it out of an aversion to corporate jargon and a fear that any other route might necessitate my engaging in it at some point. You know what I mean? Just don't want to have to email people and talk about scaling or other terms that cause me deep spiritual distress. Then, eventually, many fitness influencers and influencers in general start asking themselves, what if I stop selling stuff altogether and start selling the ability to sell stuff? Enter things like courses, masterminds, and business coaching. These tend to be quite high ticket, i.e. expensive, and they are becoming more and more common. So I can only deduce that it must have huge earning potential. I haven't really mentioned it yet because it's just not something that particularly interests me for a few reasons, mainly because I just like making videos, not PowerPoint presentations, so I don't know much about it, but the general gist is people started selling shovels in the gold rush, or people stopped selling protein shakes and gym clothes and started selling the ability to sell protein shakes and gym clothes. So why haven't I mentioned fitness coaching yet?
Okay, well that makes sense then, yeah, because you always see people get to that point where they're like, you know, well, hold on, is my stuff on the screen good? There you go. Oh my goodness, I feel bad. Sorry, should have had it on there like that for you. And that does make a whole lot of sense as far as like looking at it from that perspective. You always see people scale up and they start doing, you know, the live talking events and things like that. And they get to that point where they're talking and basically just giving you a hell of a TED talk and a story time. And then, you know, they pull at your emotions and they they include psychology and all that stuff to get you to feel a certain way. And then people end up spending a lot of money. I mean, like it works time and time after again. It constantly works. So yeah, public speaking, at the end of the day, in my opinion, public speaking is going to be the biggest breadwinner of all things. If you can publicly speak in front of people, grab people's attention, tell stories and things like that, that's going to be the way that you can make money. And that's in any endeavor. It doesn't matter what you do. If you can talk to people, engage, they like your tone, your style, how you are, who you are, they enjoy that, you're good to go. Then you're going to win every single time.
Because although most fitness influencers do this at first, once they amass some followers, they realize it's just not viable. To make it worthwhile for you, you'd have to charge people so much that it wouldn't be worthwhile for them. It's very time consuming unless, you know, you have ChatGPT do it for you. And why spend time coaching people when you could spend it on holiday whilst somebody else runs a business for you? That sounds like I'm joking, but I mean, really, like, why? You know, like, I've coached people and I've also been on holiday, and like being on holidays.
Want to actually reach your health goals?
He's coached people being on holiday, which, yeah, at that point, ChatGPT or some kind of AI tool is going to be coaching people here pretty soon. So, which is already doing it in a kind of a weird sense. It's already happening now. So it's going to get to a point where it does it a hell of a lot more. And you'll just be using that person as the face of the business. And, you know, and then you might just get the AI version of them, and it won't even be them. So, I mean, it's just that, and then hopefully you can still get paid for it because they're using your likeness. But yeah, I digress. Let's continue. Here we go.
So a typical example for a mid-range fitness influencer. Mr. Influencer gets 5,000 to 10,000 likes on their Instagram posts, 50,000 to 75,000 views on their stories, and 50,000 views on their YouTube channel where they upload weekly. They could have a supplement and gym clothing sponsor earning a 4,000 base salary plus 2,000 commission for each. They could do one sponsored YouTube video per month for 2,000 and one sponsored Instagram post per month for 1,500. At this point, they'll probably have a white labeled app or some set of ebooks or guides which will make them another 2,000. They'd easily make another 1,000 from YouTube AdSense and 500 from affiliate links. That's 19,000 per month and probably an underestimate. Somebody with this kind of engagement could quite easily be in the 20 to 25,000 a month range, depending on how prolific they are with content, how much selling they're willing to do, and how good they are at selling. So if we now say they're getting 200,000 views on YouTube and 20,000 likes on Instagram consistently, and they have their own company, you can imagine this gets pretty crazy pretty fast. Somebody with these numbers could quite easily be hitting 100,000 plus some months. This is GBP, by the way. To reiterate, this is completely hypothetical. Most of these don't apply to me personally right now, but I'm quite confident these figures are reasonably accurate. Now, I know some of this might seem a bit obscene, but I made this video because I thought people might find a peek behind the curtain somewhat interesting, not to instigate a witch hunt where we all say influencer bad and I get your approval for saying agreeable things, as if I'm not one of them. I'm also just going to skip the part where I say that I hate the term influencer and try and disassociate myself from all the negative connotations of the word because, well, it's just a bit pick me, isn't it? In my experience though, fitness influencers at least are no more or less flawed than every other person. Highly flawed still, but not more or less than anyone else. Those flaws are certainly more under the spotlight, which is just an occupational hazard, and they can even be exacerbated by the circumstance. There is inevitably more opportunity for greed, self-importance, ego to infect an individual, but what you have to remember is, if you're disgusted by how much money influencers make, you're not really mad at them. You're mad at the general population. And that's a lot of people to be mad at because every rich influencer is rich off the back of thousands and thousands of decisions. You guys get the personal responsibility of exercising your independent judgment and deciding who to follow, what to watch, whose discount code to use, and ultimately who you make rich and who you make go get a real job. So you decide. Me. Pick me.
Well, hey, that was actually a good ending to that video. That made a lot of sense. Shout out to him. That was actually very informative to look at it from that perspective, how he broke everything down. So then it gives you insight to know that if you have a favorite fitness influencer, just know that you're never going to get trained by them unless you pay like $1,000, $10,000 an hour for a training session or something like that. And then understand the simple fact that, I mean, yeah, mostly, yeah, you get to pick who you want to actually, you know, push, or you get to pick who you feel is viable to basically feed you information, entertain you. And nowadays you can pick, once, you know, somebody you don't like, you can actually bring them down and actually destroy them and crash their whole career. And it's kind of like we see that happen quite a few times. So yeah, there's that. So you have a lot more power than you know. You know, you have the power to either make somebody do good or set them off to a regular job, and, you know, then there's that. So yeah, the power does still wield inside of you. It's just that that person has to be able to engage you, entertain you. And like I said, public speaking is the bread and butter of everything. So if you can publicly speak, talk to people, have a good tone and entertainment and all that good stuff about you, that's really why everybody watches who they watch. You know, a lot of people talk trash about different streamers and content creators, whether it's fitness influencers or not. People like I guess the animation or the character that they are, you know, like Will Tennyson in the fitness space, or Greg Doucette. And then if you watch one of his behind the scenes videos, not behind the scenes, but one of his videos where he's just like chilling, he's not that animated at all. He's more chill. Like Greg Doucette was not super animated like he is when he's talking in his videos. He's more like, you know, like, you know, whenever he showed his house, he's like, here's my house, and here's this, and here's that. He was way more chill, way more cool, calm, and collected. But whenever he gets on the stream, or whenever he makes a video, it kind of changes it up a little bit and is really more animated, which works out for him. You know, like Will Tennyson with his videos, when I seen him on and off, not in real life, but like looking at videos and stuff, he seemed the same. So it kind of like, that's just who he is on and off, is what it seemed like, at least, unless the video I watched wasn't very, if he was just still in character, sort of say. But I think Will Tennyson, just the way he does his videos and everything, he seems like he's the same person on and off. So, you know, or you have like, you know, Kai Cenat, Tonight Show Speeds, who, you know, who are extremely, you know, they have they yell and jump and scream and all that stuff, and people like to watch them. It's just different age and demographics and stuff like that go on. So it just depends. But being a good public speaker and being able to actually garnish and grab people's attention and keep them entertained for a long period of time, that is an art and skill within itself. So once you get to that point, to me, I think public speaking is the best thing that you can do. You just got to be good at it, practice at it. And, you know, I mean, I think it's one of them things, like, not everybody has it, but you can practice to be better at it. But, you know, it's kind of like one of those things where, I mean, you can practice to get better at it, but some people just got that gift of gab. You know what I mean? Like, some people just got that gift of they're just love people and can be able to grab your attention as soon as they open their mouth because they're charismatic. So yeah, so there's that. So shout out to Joe Delaney for that video, Understanding the Economics of Fitness Influencers. Shout out to him. And let's see what we have here. Appreciate you. Oh, I can't say whatever that name is, but thank you. All right, so let's go on. Let's see here. So that's going to be it for the fitness portion of the show. We're going to jump off of here and dive in and go take a look at the next portion of the show, which is going to be the economy. So now we're going to talk about the economy and talk about what is it? Well, what was I going to talk about? What an AI economy might look like. And also we're going to talk about what traps are. I think I'm going to start with traps first. We're going to go with traps first, then we're going to look at what an AI economy is. So as far as traps go, let's dive into that first. So first, before we do, let's go ahead and get the economy banner up here on the screen. Bam. And let's get our sexy lady to give us the intro to the show. So here we go.
Welcome to the economy segment of the show. Enjoy.
All right. So we are now diving into the economy portion of the show, and we are going to go ahead and speak on something called traps. If you don't know what traps is, tighten up your seatbelt, buckle up, and get ready to learn something that's gonna probably have you saying a few cuss words once you get into it. Where is my sound? Why are my sound bites out of order? What is going on? Or maybe I just... Oh, okay, it's me. I'm not in alphabetical order. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and dive into these traps and give you an understanding of what they are. So let me pull this up on the screen real quick. Let's see what we got right here. Let's see. Here we go. So is this what we're doing? No. That's not it. Let's see. Potential, legal. Here we go. So I have this thing right here. So we're going to look at this. Then we're going to watch a video that's going to speak on exactly what traps are. So, oh, wait, maybe we could look at this one. I think this is a good one right here. Oh, did you know? No. Let us see. Okay, we'll start right here. Okay, so we'll start right here. All right, let me pull this up on the screen for you. So traps. Traps is good. It is a training repayment agreement provision. Okay, so trap, training repayment agreement provision. So get ready for this right here, okay? So listen to what this is. So a training repayment agreement provision, also referred to as a training agreement, a training reimbursement program, or a training clawback, is a type of employment contract that asserts an employer will cover the cost for an employee to receive work-related training in exchange for the individual's continued employment. If the employee leaves the company before a designated time, they are responsible for repaying the business for the cost of their training. TRAP fees and enforcement periods vary by employer, but they typically work on a sliding scale, okay? Then we're going to dive into an example real quick right here. What's an example of TRAP? So to better understand what a TRAP is, consider this an example. At the fictional Bob's Car, the company's training agreement requires an employee to repay $1,000 in training costs unless they remain employed with the organization for at least 1 year after completing the training. If this training agreement uses a sliding scale, it might require an employee to repay 100% of the training cost if they quit within the first 6 months of training completion, 75% if they leave within 6 to 12 months, and ultimately 0% if they stay with the company for more than a year after training completion. This way, the owner of Bob's Cars is recouping their investment, literally or figuratively, whether the employee quits and pay back the money or puts their new skills to use for the business. Boy, oh boy. Yes, sir. So, with that being said, you might want to be careful or make a wise decision on where you're going to work. Now, what industries use traps, you might ask? Let's see what industries use traps. Traps are becoming more common. About 10% of U.S. workers surveyed in 2020 were subject to training repayment agreements. The Cornell Research Institute told Reuters that traps first came about when they were often used to recoup specialized training costs for higher skills and higher wage workers, such as technology employees and security brokers. The industry that has the most commonly used and benefited from traps are high-skilled and high-wage tech employees that require specialized and expensive training. Oh my goodness. So you see where this is going, right? Can you not see where this is going? Basically, we got AI coming in. AI is taking all of the entry level and like mid-tier jobs, potentially junior jobs, or whatever you want to call them, right? AI is coming and taking all those. So if you want to work and get a job and you have high skills, because that's who's going to be able to work now, are the high skilled people. They're not taking no many low skilled people, because AI is going to basically be, let me turn this freaking sound off. AI is going to be basically replacing all of those people. So they no longer need them anymore. They don't need the low wage, not low wage, but low skill workers, entry, mid-level, junior. They don't need them anymore. They only need high skill workers and high wages. So if they're going to pay you a high wage and learn a high skill, then the tech employees are going to require specialized, expensive training. Then they're going to have you locked in at that high wage and high skill. Oh my God. International business attorney and CEO, I can't say the name. The tech industry, similar to other industries that can be defined by the above, benefit immensely from traps because they want to ensure a return on their investment, that being the time and money spent training new employees. Okay, so we've already talked about what yesterday when I did a show, there was a talk about what OpenAI is doing, and OpenAI is going to be training or trying to teach. Walmart is going into cahoots with OpenAI to help train its employees. So now a lot of companies are going to start training their employees into learning AI. Well, AI is now about to be, in my opinion, a high skill, and they're probably going to have, different tiers of people, but, they'll weed off some. But if you're going to be high skilled and get a good wage, then everybody is probably going to be in a trap. And therefore, you're going to be in that trap for at least 1 to 2 years, depending on what they want to basically put into the contract. Because let's say they pay you a high, training. You could probably be in it 2, 3, 4 years. Now, if you look at it like this, think of it like this. One place that's probably always done a form of traps, but you never thought of it like this because of the way it's presented. In a sense, you could almost say the military, in a sense, does traps if you think about it. Bruh. For example, you know that whenever you join the military, you have to do what is like a 4 or 6 year contract, right? Well, if you don't fulfill that contract, what happens? If you go to the military, first you swear in, then you go to the military, then you feel like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. Everybody in the military know that is a no-no. Unless you want to get a criminal charge and go AWOL, that's a no-no. That's not going to happen. You finna serve that contract that you fulfill. You can call that a form of traps, basically, because number one, you're getting physical training. Then depending on which branch you go to, I believe you get a tech school. So you get another training. You get credits for those. So now you're learning a skill that you could possibly use when you come out. So you're dedicating that contract term of 4 to 6 years. So it's technically a form of a trap already. It's just now that the companies are going to start implementing it, probably on not so much as a like a harsher term, but the military has a huge amount of benefits that come with it. So to me, that makes sense. But now when all companies are doing this, that's a little bit different. I don't know. I just don't think that would be I don't think that would be worth it, in my opinion, if a regular company's doing it, even if you do get paid a high wage or whatever. But if you're getting taught a high skill, I mean, it just depends on how you feel about it. It's a personal endeavor. So always think of that. But I think this has been around for longer than we know. We just never looked at it that way. But the military does come with an immense amount of benefits. So to me, that's one that's worth it. I think that's actually a good one if you do it right. But for just companies, regular companies at high skilled and high wage earners, I think that can get a little bit indentured servitude, if you kind of see what I'm saying. I think that can get to a bad point. Now let's go on, and we're going to look at a video where they're going to talk about this, and we're going to see what they have to say. So they're called it's basically America's Lawyers. Some lawyers are going to talk about this and explain how they feel about traps that is going on. Now, this video was 2 years ago. So this video is from 2 years ago. They've been talking about this. And that article I just read you, that article was from September, was a year ago, 2024, September. So we're going to look at this video. We're going to see how these attorneys are going to talk to you and explain exactly how they feel traps work, and see what they can kind of nitpick out. Because of course you read the surface of it is one thing, but when you get to the legality of it, it might be a whole different ball game. So let me go ahead and refresh this before we start this, because they might mess around and hit me with an ad as soon as I start. But we're gonna see how this really works, because this can get pretty sticky. This can get pretty sticky pretty fast if you think about it. So let's go ahead and dive into this video and see exactly what these guys have to say about it. Fair use.
Companies in the United States are using contracts to trap workers in jobs that they hate, creating a new form of indentured servitude. I've got Farron Cousins from Ring of Fire with me to talk about that and a lot of other things. You know, this is, this takes us back to the indentured servants that we're used to seeing in farming, immigrants that come in. They have the company store. You have to buy your food here, and then at the end of the month, they don't have any money. Or else they, in this situation, it's a little more sophisticated, isn't it?
Yeah, it is what employers are doing right now in order to...
Now, remember this. He mentioned immigrants, all right? Now, remember, ever since 2020, they've been going into this thing called new normal, and inch by inch by inch, every single year, incrementally, you're seeing things getting put in as a new normal. We keep seeing it, and they keep, you know, moving the line. So here's one that they put in, and slowly but surely more companies add to it. As time goes on, more companies add this. So just keep that in mind, that this is the new normal that's been going on ever since the strong flu 19.
Trap people in jobs that either aren't paying well or jobs that they just simply don't like, is they're saying, okay, if you don't work here for X number of years and you leave, you have to repay us thousands and thousands of dollars for your so-called training to even work this job. And this is happening across industries. I mean, we're talking about pet groomers. There's actually a class action lawsuit about that.
Pet smarts being sued.
Yeah, truck drivers, nurses, all kinds of service workers in general.
Yeah.
It's terrifying for these people.
Well, they call it specialty training. They say, you know, you can't go anywhere and not get this kind of training where it's not going to cost money. So if you're going to cost us money and you don't stay here more than 24 months, you owe us that money back. And it's a lot more beyond that. I mean, you've got where there's advances, pay advances, and they say, well, we're going to give you an advanced paycheck, and that advanced paycheck is something that they never catch up with. It's impossible to catch up with. So this value of...
Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. I got to stop him on that one. Advance. Okay. If somebody gives you, in this context, this is my assumption. If they're going to give you an advance as a company, they're already trapping you into a contract. Imagine if they give you an advance. Do you think they are going to charge interest on that advance? You better be hellified right. They're going to charge interest on that advance, and you are not going to be able, you're going to be on that can turn into another form of a student loan, just in a different context. If you think about it, that can turn into another form of a student loan with the interest. You can't ever pay it off. Be careful out there if they do this. Good, well, not if, when they do this. Golly.
Training debt. That's generally what it's called. And right now, my take on it is the courts have enforced it, some of them. But I think you've also got something that you have, the unconscionability doctrine. A judge can look at it and say, yeah, I see this as a contract, but I think it's unconscionable. And they've got a lot of leeway to say, I'm not going to allow this. I think that's the way this is going to go, to tell you the truth.
Hopefully.
All right, I'm going to have to say with him, do you really think the judge is going to call this an unconscionable contract? I mean, let's just be real. Let's just be real. You think he's going to call that an unconscionable contract? Right now, like, for example, the people with student loans, although they need to pay those student loans back, the interest that they're being charged on those student loans, that's usury. That's got to be unconscionable, in my opinion. I mean, don't get it twisted. Some of the people deserve it because of the fact that they believe that they're not going to pay it back. They're going to take it to the grave. But for the ones that are actually trying and they are trapped in, there's some people that paid their student loan amount back, and because the interest is accumulated so much, they're never going to stop. So to me, in that form, in that context, for those people that are trying, that's unconscionable. You think a judge is going to go back onto those people's student loans and be like, hey, this is an unconscionable contract. You can, nah, bro, they ain't doing that. And at some point, I think it depends on who's in office, who's going to sway the minds of the judges and the people and the politicians on like, screw that unconscionable contract crap. Like when they get in that court, if you got enough money to fight it, but you're not going to have money to fight this. And that's what court is. It's a fight of money. And when you go into court for an unconscionable contract, are you going into a civil court or a criminal court? That's the question you should be asking yourself, because if you're in a civil court, you are screwed.
And what's really ironic, disgustingly ironic about this program is that it's called the Training Repayment Agreement Provision, which the acronym of that is TRAP. It's literally called a trap that they're putting these workers into to force them to pay back this training. And a lot of times, this is something the courts have to take into consideration too. These employees are straight up told, we offer the free training. So they're told it is free. There is no cost for this. So that could come into play as well.
The idea is we're going to train you into something that it's going to have crossover value. You can go to this company, you can go to that company. But the word that they do use is come to work with us, and we're going to take you through a course that's going to give you value. You're going to be able to use this everywhere. Well, it's just the opposite. I mean, there's no really truth. First of all, there's no special accredit.
Okay, so if you go to a company and they're going to trap you, give you a trap, right? And they're going to say this skill is going to be able to take you to this company and that company. Question, does this make schools obsolete and irrelevant? Because now you no longer have to go to school anymore to learn a skill. You can just go directly to the company, but you get put into a trap. So now this trap, you are basically being put into the experience you would get, or no, excuse me, the knowledge you would get from going to college. But now that knowledge is being replaced with experience and knowledge. So therefore, at what point will they try to combine this trap with the student loan ties of a school, if that makes any sense? So eventually at some point, because you don't need school anymore, you can just go to the company and get the experience and be in the trap for 1 or 2 years. But when they start to realize, like, wait a minute, hold on, we're providing you with experience and knowledge. School is only giving you knowledge with a degree, which at some point you're going to realize is not doing you too much good at some point, but still is useful in certain contexts. But we're giving you experience and the knowledge to, if you leave after the trap. So what is it when a company's going to look at this and say, well, we should just extend this out or charge more? So now your trap fee is going to be more, and of course when you got more of a fee, they're gonna tie on more interest. This is gonna be brutal. This ain't gonna end well. This ain't gonna end well at all.
Accreditation. They're not getting a special license. You're not a specialized licensed groomer at PetSmart, and that's going to translate to big money somewhere else. It's a scam. It's just another scam, and the courts have a way to do something about it. Like I say, if you have something that's so unconscionable that it looks like slave peonage, what they call peonage, then they can do something about it.
Man, I don't know, but shout out to these guys for putting that on the table that way. Appreciate them. This ain't gonna work out too good. I think the worse the economy gets, AI comes in, takes over more jobs, right? Because eventually, like the jobs that AI are gonna replace, like you're gonna have no choice but to try to go up to these higher tier jobs, and the higher the specialized trap or training that you get and the higher wage you earn, you're just going to get charged more fee, and eventually they're going to tag on. I know they're going to tag on interest. There's no way they're not going to implement interest. And then when they realize you're getting experience, they're going to tag on some. This ain't going to end well. This ain't going to end well at all. This is going to, if this gets passed and the courts don't do nothing about it, it's going to be detrimental. I mean, they already got when I read that article back in last year, 10% of companies are doing it. So that was last year. Every year is going to go up. So what were we, probably 12%, 15% now doing this stuff? It's not going to look good, y'all. So if you don't want to be involved in the trap, the only thing you got left is to be an entrepreneur and, put yourself out there and and you know, become something on your own, because this ain't gonna end well at all, especially when you get to the point where AI is your hiring boss, is your hiring manager, or you're hiring, you know, who's hiring you? That's who's checking your resumes at some point. On that video that I did yesterday where we read that OpenAI is going to be going in cahoots with companies, and they're going to go in like with Walmart and stuff, and they're going to train you on specialized skills. Okay, well, if they're going to train you, then you're going to have to go in and get this. You're probably going to mix T.R.A.P into your contract, and you know, everybody's going to be tied into a job that either they don't like or they do like. But at the end of the day, you're still tied into a contract, and if you break that contract, I'm pretty sure you can go to jail for a debt, but you can go to jail for breach of contract. They can get you under the clause of breach of contract, because they do it with child support. If you get so high on child support amount, they can get you in for breach of contract on child support and put you in jail for it. So they'll find a way to lock you up for a debt. I mean, trust me, they'll get creative. They can't do it specifically for a debt, but they can find a loophole around it to get you in jail because of a debt. So just be careful with that, y'all. Hopefully you learned something on that, because that right there, whew, that's a biggie right there. And I got a short I want you to look at just to show this girl. She did a video on basically showing herself in the interview process of getting put into a T.R.A.P or how it works. So just give a little quick video. This is a very short that she did, and we're going to take a look. And I forgot to change the banner. There we go. And we're going to look at this video real quick, and she's going to basically explain how the employee gets you in or gets you out of a T.R.A.P. So here we go.
Oh, Amy, have you got a minute? I'm really sorry to be doing this, but I've got to hand you this. Oh, Amy, have you got a minute? I'm really sorry to be doing this, but I've got to hand you this. Oh no, Sally, where are you going? I've been offered a new job. Yeah, it's higher pay, more advanced position, and obviously I know things are stretched here and you can't offer me that. So, yeah, I'm sorry to be going. Right, okay, what are we going to do about your training that you've just completed? We've literally just paid for that for you. You're going to have to pay that back. Sorry? Do you remember signing that agreement when we agreed to pay for your training? That if you leave within a certain period of time, then you have to pay it back? Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. How much was the course? I'll have to check, but I think it was $6,000. And you've just finished it, so you'd have to pay 100%. $6,000, 100%. Jesus, Amy. Is there no way of me getting around that? Sorry, Sally. That's the agreement that you entered into. Oh, well. Oh, Amy, have you got a minute? I'm really sorry to be doing this, but I've got to hand you...
Yeah, well, it looks like Amy's not going. Well, I guess Amy's the other girl, but I guess this lady is not going to be getting her other job pretty soon, because you got to drop $6,000 just to get out of the. You got to pay $6,000 to get out of a job that you're in just to go to your next job. Oh my God, the company is looking at you right now. They said, "Hey,
FYM. Fuck y'all motherfuckers, you know?"
You know, that's basically what they're saying. So yeah, just be aware of that moving forward in the future. Just think about what's going on and pay attention, because I don't know how that's going to pan out too well. And at some point, let's say you do try to dip out and don't pay them, okay? It's in a contract now. There's court action that can be taken against you because your signature is on a document or a contract, so they can actually pursue legal action against you. So with that being said, they can potentially probably place liens on your property or something and get the money out of you at some point, some way, somehow. Plus paying lawyer fees, court cost fees, all that stuff, that's going to add up quick. So just be aware of that, because that's going to be brutal, man. Jesus, man. But shout out to them for informing us and let us know about T.R.A.P. So be aware of that. All right, so what do we have here next? Next, we have what an AI economy will look like in the future. So we're going to take a look at this video and see how AI economies are going to look into the future. All right, wait, somebody just sent me something. Miguel, you're asking, can you react to Talia Mar's self-portrait video? I don't do music videos. I don't react to music videos, but I'll look into it at some point. But normally I don't. I'll just keep it on my topics that I normally have, which is fitness, economy, and AI. But the next video that we have right here is what an AI economy will look like. We're going to take a look and see if this video can give us an insight as to what an economy via AI will look like moving forward in the future, to see if we have anything to worry about or if everything's going to be peaches and cream. Because if it gets too bad and, you know, we move into an economy looking pretty bad, we might only have one choice, and it might be this. Yeah. But let's be positive and think that everything's gonna go well. So here we go. I'm gonna watch this video right here. It's by Economics Explained, and we're gonna check out and see how this whole situation works. Here we go.
This has been a concern for economists and the general public for as long as computers have been able to perform basic tasks beyond simple calculations. The Skynet apocalypse is not an impossibility. When tasked with playing a game of Tetris, multiple modern AI programs have just learned to pause the game or shut it down because they realise they can't lose if the game isn't running. As black box neural networks are tasked with more real-world responsibilities, one would hope that their logic develops a bit more nuance, or else asking a machine to make sure the kids don't spend too long watching TV could have drastic consequences. Now, even if everything works exactly as intended, automation can still cause a lot of problems, and one of the ones that people are most worried about is what happens to our jobs once machines can perform them better than we can. Nobody really knows how long this will take, or if it will even happen at all, but there is understandably still a lot of speculation about what a future will look like when the economic value of most people is negative.
Can you imagine what the world's gonna look like when drones start dropping off packages to our houses? Like, think about that. Think. What is life gonna look like when drones start dropping packages off to our houses or apartments or wherever the hell we are? Can you imagine that? They're gonna be dropping off packages at the front door. Number one, there goes the transportation services. So people who had jobs at UPS, FedEx, Uber Eats, or anything like that, those jobs are gone. Goodbye. But just imagine they're dropping off packages to your front door, and that's going to be ran by what, two companies? There's going to be like Amazon and whoever is the drone company. So there's going to be like two companies right there dropping those off, and at some point your food's going to be dropped off, your toiletry is going to be dropped off, your clothes you are a prisoner in your own home at that point. That's what that's going to be, but I digress.
Humans are still going to need to eat and drink and be housed, and if they can't produce anything to earn their keep, they will ultimately be relying on the generosity of some entity to provide these goods and services for them for nothing in return. What that entity will be and why they will offer these resources for nothing in return is where a lot of misconceptions start, and understanding the true economic implications of this kind of future might simultaneously make us all less anxious about the short term and more anxious about the long term. So, do our economic systems still work in a world where humans have nothing of value to provide? What group of people are likely to suffer the consequences of this technological development first? And finally, are current advancements in technology pushing us close to a time where we will need to seriously answer these questions?
And question number 4 would be, for me, I would say, is what do you do when you create a civilization or an economy, I should say, when humans can no longer provide value because they don't work or do anything? Like, you give them UBI, universal basic income, and then they just live off of the universal basic income, but they don't give anything back of value. They don't work because you give them UBI. I mean, what do you do with them? They're just waiting for packages to get dropped off with stuff they bought with the UBI. They got their home, what do you do with the people at what point? And when you don't provide value, how does society view you, and what is the plan that society has in store for those people? That's the question.
Now, as always, before we get into things, I have to give the big disclaimer to any new viewers that nobody can predict the future, least of all economists. And even the experts on automation that are building out tools like ChatGPT and robots that can move like humans disagree on what these tools will be able to do in a few years' time, let alone a decade or a century. But with that out of the way, a lot of people, and even economists for that matter, get some comfort in the fact that if machines and artificial intelligence take all of our jobs, then nobody would have any income to buy the goods and services that these machines were producing. Governments, or maybe even the businesses themselves that invest into fully automating the production process, would be forced to provide people with some kind of income, or their business would have nobody left to sell to and would make no profit. The most popular proposal is a universal basic income, which is a guaranteed payment made to everybody in economies so that they can continue to live and, most importantly, consume. The money to fund these payments would be raised by taxing the companies making trillions of dollars off their fully automated supply of goods and services. Consumers do play a very important role in our modern economies. Their spending basically works as a voting system to determine what goods and services get provided and what ones don't. If lots of people buy burgers and a lot of people buy pizzas, then more businesses will start providing burgers and pizza joints will close down, freeing up real estate and ingredients for more burger joints. The question of what should be produced with the world's limited resources is one of the most fundamental in all of economics. Giving consumers a way to store value and use it to decide what is provided is one of the most effective ways to make sure the economy is providing optimal outcomes for all participants. But, and I really wish there was a nice way to put this, our current economic systems don't care about the decisions of people that don't produce value. Take the following thought.
That's my question right there. The current economy does not care about people that don't provide value. So my question is, what do they do with those people? And I'm not trying to sound like a evil person, but like, what are they going to do with them? Because if they already planned to put UBI in the system, what are you going to do with them? How are you going to get value or get use out of people like that who don't provide value and choose to just sit? Because remember, think about the people who existed off of the government's dime. People who used, like the government assistance for all these years, because Trump just came in and changed all that. So imagine the people who lived off the government's dole. They lived off of housing, food stamps, all that stuff, and had like a free existence, didn't even have to lift a finger, it barely even work. Okay, that's been going on for so long. That's going away. That's leaving. That's changing. And so now what do you do with these people who are no longer gonna be able to live like that? Like this is gonna be the biggest rug pull in history.
Experiment. Imagine a hypothetical future where perfect humanoid robots are combined with artificial general intelligence that is as independent as any real person. The robots are expensive, but only cost as much as an average worker's annual salary, and their ongoing maintenance and energy costs are less than $1 an hour. This is basically the ultimate piece of capital for organisations to invest in, and they would, because it effectively pays for itself after the first year. Slowly, companies would replace all of their workers with these machines, and the companies that didn't adopt or couldn't afford the investment would be outcompeted by these organisations that could, and can now offer cheaper goods and services because they don't have to pay wages. In this hypothetical, let's say it only takes a decade before unemployment reaches 100%, and nobody can find work because it's simply more competitive to get machines to do all of the tasks that people do. People will have to rely on welfare to afford anything. In the short term, this could be funded by taxes raised on the new super productive, fully automated companies, but in the long term, it will be a real challenge to get companies to continue paying taxes. Without the need to access a labour force, companies could set up their operations in whatever country gave them the best deal on their taxes. This would create a race towards the bottom and make it extremely difficult for welfare to be funded through regular tax revenues. Governments could also tax the third factor of production, which is land. The fully automated companies are still going to need room to harvest resources and conduct their operations, but this will be difficult without also taxing the rest of the population that doesn't have a job but just needs somewhere to live. Eventually, if profit-driven companies can replace their entire workforce with machines, then large parts of the population will have very limited or no income at all, which kinda sounds like it defeats the purpose, because then who will the companies sell their goods and services to make profits in the first place? Well, they can sell them to the few people that own the companies. If someone owned an army of machines, they could just directly get those machines to produce anything they wanted. Chances are the machine owners in this hypothetical future would still use markets to trade goods and services amongst themselves, but there would be no need for the unemployed masses to be involved in this exchange of value at all, because they provide no value to trade with. The goods and services that these companies produce would slowly shift from everyday consumer products to extremely high-end goods demanded by the tiny share of people in the world that own enough of the companies to live off dividends. The lives of these people would become extraordinarily luxurious.
So that's the name of the game. I don't know if you caught that. That's the name of the game. Get money and invest in these companies that are about to go through the roof, because they're going to be the ones who are going to continually make money off of stocks in their portfolio, from stocks because they have money in the game and making money off of dividends off of their portfolios. That is going to be the way that you're going to be able to live a extremely lucrative life in the future, and be the only way that you'll be able to have any value in the future economy, by having investments and part ownerships in these companies. That right there said everything I needed to hear. That is the key right now. If you can take your money and invest it into these companies and be able to have skin in the game, to be able to play in the stock market and have your money grow over an decent amount of time, and put as much as you can in there to have skin in the game and keep playing, that's the way the world is going, because these companies ain't going nowhere. These companies going to be here, and they're going to keep getting massively more wealthy over time. And that's how you're going to continue to have some kind of value, is through your investments. Ugh. Or just get back to nature.
Just the same as the lives of billionaires today would be unthinkable to even the greatest kings and business tycoons of a century ago. But for everybody else, it could get pretty bleak. In the most extreme version of this hypothetical, people would just starve to death because there's no economic incentive to provide them with even basic essentials. Now, call me an optimist, but I don't think it will come to that. And no, it's not because I believe in the goodness of the human spirit, it's because of market forces. There is already a trend in highly capital-intensive advanced economies to have fewer children. These are the economies where people are paid the most, so will be the most logical place to start automating jobs. Today, most advanced economies are only maintaining their populations through immigration. Some birth rates are so low that not having enough people to perform important roles in the economy is going to be a major issue in as little as a decade. People are having less children because it is no longer economically advantageous to have them, and in most advanced economies, it's actually becoming quite expensive. That trend has started because people are working in advanced industries that use big pieces of capital to leverage a small amount of human labour. A century ago, having a lot of children was great because they could work on the farm or in a small family business. Today, a farmer can just use a big machine that, while expensive, is still cheaper to maintain than the amount of children it would take to harvest the same amount of crops. Scaled up to the size of an economy, the same thing will happen. As it becomes cheaper to use machines to do the same work that humans used to do, advanced economies will probably see further declines in birth rates, as well as a reversal of the skilled immigration policies they've become reliant on. It will be harder to replace labour with machines in developing and undeveloped countries, because their wages are lower, so it will take longer for the investment into this theoretical new technology to become viable. This thought experiment was also an extreme example that still requires a big leap in technology from even the most impressive examples of AI available today. Nobody can predict the future, least of all computer scientists, but experts in the field are mostly saying that human-level artificial general intelligence is at least a few decades away yet, if it's possible at all. So,
I don't know about that one. I'm gonna have to disagree with him on that one. I think we don't know how fast AI is gonna be learning. We've seen how fast it learns, but we don't know how fast it's gonna continue to learn, how it's gonna pick up and rapidly move. So they're saying decades. Could be 1 or 2 decades, but I mean, that's not far away. That's 2035, 2045. I mean, 2 decades will go by quick. If you made it to your 20s in life, you saw how fast that came. So it's going to be here before you know it.
even though people shouldn't feel too safe just because they are consumers, they probably shouldn't feel too worried yet either. There is also not yet any reason to think that things are going to be different this time. The first machines that could weave textiles and print books worried people that thought there would no longer be any need for human labour. Robotic production lines, mechanical calculators, automated telemachines, and even search engines all had people worried that their jobs were in danger. The concern was, why would anyone hire a lawyer when they could easily search for anything they needed on the internet? Yes, some jobs are now obsolete, but all of these technologies are fully mature, and most major economies around the world right now have record low unemployment. Most of these technologies just made the workers using them more productive. When we make these videos, most of our research is done using the internet and various search engines. Sometimes we're lucky enough to speak with industry experts, but we still rely on background research to make sure that we're asking them the right questions in the limited time we get with them. If the research team at EE had to go to a library and find the same information manually, it would take at least twice as long to research and write every video. What's more is that anybody could replace my job with a search engine if all they wanted to do was learn about economics. Every economic theory and explanation we discuss on this channel is available online, and most of it's not
I wonder how many of these videos that we're watching in between this, like these videos that he has, I wonder if these videos are all AI generated videos that we're watching and not actual real people.
Too difficult to find. But we all still have our jobs because we have found a way to leverage this technology to add even more economic value to everybody watching. Productivity is how much value a worker produces for the economy in a given hour of work. Paul Krugman, probably the most influential and well-known economist alive today, once said that productivity isn't everything, but in the long run, it's almost everything. If a worker can produce more value in a given hour of work, then they can be paid more and the economy as a whole will have more stuff. Today, people are concerned about chat programs like OpenAI's ChatGPT and Google's Bard. But just like all of the other technologies that people were afraid of in the past, these programs are just very clever ways to use something that still needs the traditional factors of production to produce in the first place. A search engine is only...
True. I mean, I get what he's saying. However, this time around, it's going to require a lot less people. It's not going to require that many people. We have a population of what, like 8 billion? How many people using AI will it take to make a big chunk or percentage of the population not needed? And then it's not just that. It's not that you have the people who know how to work AI. You also add robots on top of that to do some manual labor. So you got robots doing manual labor, and then you got people who know how to run AI that can do the task of like 5 people in one person. So you coop that. The Great Depression had an unemployment rate. What was the Great Depression's unemployment rate? Let me see. What was the Great Depression's unemployment rate? So the Great Depression unemployment rate, it peaked at 25% in 1933. 25%. Now, if you go through history and you kind of understand how these people work, you have to ask yourself, do they feel like they can outdo that this time around? Like, do you think like, okay, we peaked at 25% last time. Let's see if we can get that up to like 50, 60% this time around. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the mindset of said individuals going into this, because that video that we watched yesterday by that one guy, when he read the document of OpenAI and how they're going to train employees using OpenAI with big companies and Walmart being one of them, they mentioned that they know where this is headed. They mentioned it in the document. They know where this is headed. So if they know where this is headed and they know that we're already in a depression, how bad is it going to be when you have the robots walking and then you have the so many millions of people trained in AI that can do the work of the other people? So quick math. If you got 10 million people doing AI, those 10 million people can replace, I would say, what was it, 10 million times, I don't know, 10 million times 5, 10 million times 10. They can replace 10 million people, can probably replace 50 million people, maybe 100 million, depending on, time frame. And then on top of that, you have robots that they throw out there as well that will replace jobs as well. So you're looking at like industries being eliminated and not replaced, as well as robots being put and robots being put to replace labor. So you're probably looking at, I don't know, I think if 25% was the first time, they're going to have to outdo themselves the second time around. You know what I mean? So I think they're shooting, I would say they're shooting for 50%. That's what I would say. That's my opinion.
Only as good as the information it can find. Just like a robotic arm in a factory is only as good as the code that the engineers programmed it for. AI programs all work by taking in large amounts of data that was initially created by people. Realistically, these programs and other developments like them are just going to be another tool for people to use to increase how much output they can produce in a given hour of work. As our populations get older and more pressure is put on a smaller group of young workers to support our economic prosperity, tools that can help them do more with less is something to be excited for and not fearful of. Fear is unlikely to do any of us much good anyway, because even in the worst case scenario, like our thought experiment from earlier, nobody can predict which jobs are going to go first. For a long time, the prevailing consensus was that jobs that involved a lot of physical labour would be the first on the automation chopping block, and creative professions like writing, art and making music would be the most difficult to automate. Now people are predicting the opposite. Most of the developments in recent years have been in creative fields, and technology is struggling with what we thought would be easy tasks like driving a car. At this time, these new technologies are already creating new jobs that didn't exist this time last year. Automated systems are only as good as what you can tell them to do, and communicating effectively with machines is a very real skill. I am going to do what no economist should and make a prediction. And that is that in the not too distant future, AI prompt writer will be a job, if it isn't already. And people that can use these tools effectively in jobs like this will make themselves and the wider economy much wealthier.
Yeah, that is correct. So shout out to them for making that video. I got a few things to say about that, but let's give them a round of applause. All right, so yeah, it's just this time around, it's not going to be very many jobs that are going to be put back on the table. You're going to have a lot less jobs available. So going into the Great Depression like we did the first time and coming out of it, the thing that supplied a lot of jobs was World War II. World War II supplied a lot of jobs, or not replied, supplied a lot of jobs for workers and stuff like that. But now this time around, you know, you got the transportation industry that's going to get hit. That's not, you know, that's going to take a hit at some point. Then you have, you know, techs that's going to get hit at some point, and it's not just hitting everybody, but it is hitting entry levels and things like that. So when all that happens, and we see in the next 10 years, in the next 10 years, we're going to see for sure. But while we're headed in that direction, your money should already be going into these investments, because he made it clear that that the companies are going to get extremely wealthy because they're going to be making money off of their stocks and their portfolios from their businesses. So if you can get in the game with stocks and stuff like that and have your money put over there, I think that's going to be a good way to go. Even though this video is not 100%, you know, legit, or it's just given a hypothetical situation. But I mean, there is some truth behind it, because you can't really escape the fact that you can't like ignore where this is going. And we have Claro. Yeah, I see what you put here, right here. Yeah, go over on my YouTube and support me on the YouTube as well. I appreciate that. But yeah. So yeah, just some food for thought, just to give you an idea of how life will be moving toward the future. It's looking pretty bleak, I'm gonna say. It's not looking too shabby, I don't think so, no. You got to bust a move now and start investing now or yesterday as fast as you can and make something happen. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. So round of applause to them for that one, for sure, for sure. All right, what do we got here? Oh, all right. That's all we have for that segment of the show. So we're going to go ahead and dive into the next segment of the show. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to do that. When your kid is... Oh, come on. Don't give me that. Where is it? Right here. Okay, here we go. What do we got? Okay, we're going to look at this guy right here. Cool. So we're going to dive into the next segment of the show. Sorry about that. We're going to get into the AI portion of the show, where we're going to look and see exactly what's going on, boots on the ground style, as far as seeing what the robot is, what Cowboy Robot is doing out here in these streets, you know, seeing what kind of life he's living. So let's go ahead and slide on over and get to the economy portion of the show. Let me change the band over here, and let's dive right into it. Here we go.
Welcome to the AI segment of the show. Enjoy.
All right. So we are in the AI segment of the show. We're going to look over at a couple of robots and prototypes that are going to be implemented soon here in the future. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at Cowboy Robot, Robo Riz, as I like to call him. We're going to look at him first and see exactly what's going on. So they have a robot that's out on the streets of Venice, California, walking around, and people are, you know, actually interacting with it. So it's a live video. It's not an AI video. It's a live, serious video. And we're going to see what life is like with a walking, functioning robot. And you get to see how advanced and how far these robots are so far. And this is going to be the first robot we look at, and then we're going to take it up to the next level, and we're going to see what the next robot is, who is going to be Protoclone. But let's start off with Cowboy Robot, and let's see how he's doing out here in these streets. So let's go ahead and take a look at him. Let me change that banner real quick, and we're going to see how Cowboy Robot is doing out there in these streets. So let's take a look. Here we go.
Beautiful Venice Beach, California. Right when you thought you've seen it all? No, I'm not talking about the girl with the skates. I'm talking to this little dude right here. This is what the future is going to look like here at Venice Beach. They're all going to be robots.
What up?
What up?
but in the streets they call me Rizbot. Serious and important. Hold up, shorty, you rocking that purple floral print bikini top with pink sequins. You look absolutely stunning. Baby girl, that brown hair pulled back is giving me life. You got that goddess realness. Queen, your tan skin glowing is making me weak in the knees. True player for real. Shorty, that tattoo on your left arm is straight fire. You're a work of art, baby girl. You got the whole package, ma. Beautiful face, fit body, and a style that's on point. How you doing, girl?
All right, so we got Robo Riz here ready to clap some cheeks on this girl right here, giving her all the compliments in the world, and she is just eating it all up. Jesus. Man, just wait till they put a Johnson on Mr. Robo Riz. I mean, they already know how to use them when, you know, women already know how to use these things. So imagine when they put one on Robo Riz and just have him on there just going to town, just she gonna be in the time of her life, boy. They gonna have her screaming out. They gonna have her just Robo Riz is gonna have her, and she just gonna be, you know what I mean, just having just a good life. Robo Riz is gonna be talking to her, saying all the same things he's saying now, just talking in her ear, just killing it, just beating it down. But anyway, I digress. Let's continue.
Robots coming for our jobs, y'all. They're coming for all of us.
If you're gonna bring bitches in here, bring a smart bitch.
I mean, even though that guy just walked by and was walking by who was super zesty, he was actually telling the truth. Like that was like a PSA, and everybody laughed it off. Now look at these look at these kids. They probably what? I'm gonna guess between like 16 and 22, I'm assuming, maybe young college students. They're seeing this on the streets, and this is what their future existence is gonna be like. So maybe by the time they have kids, which they're probably not gonna have kids, but their future life is gonna be dealing with people like Rizbot. But then we're looking at Rizbot. Wait till you see the next one that's coming up. But so far, this is what they're seeing in their existence in their life, like something that I've never experienced before. But this is what they're seeing. This is a part of their life and existence, and it's gonna be implemented in the next 5 or 10 years, very, very in a realistic way. Basically, competing with the jobs that they think they may be having. So my question is this: I wonder, is he fully automated, or is he moving like this on his own? You know, or is somebody controlling him with a remote controller? I think he's fully automated. I don't think nobody's controlling him. I think he's 100% automated. I don't think nobody's dictating where he goes. And of course, they got his. They have his. They have his. What is it? His personality is that of a ninja. They got him with the ninja personality. Why they give him the ninja personality? My God, a bad one at that. Oh, he has some terrible. His talking was straight garbage. This fool got on some Air Forces. Bruh. This fool got on Air Forces. Come on. Come on. Look at this. He got on Air Forces, y'all. He got on Air Forces.
Said, God damn. God damn.
That's a shame. The girl in the red got scared. Look how she peeled off to the side. Meow. Okay, so he is being controlled. Okay, I was wondering what was going on. All right, finally got my answer. I was wondering. So he's remote controlling the robot. Okay, interesting. Okay. So it's like a drone, basically. So it's like a drone robot. You can control Robo-Riz or whatever with a drone type controller. So that's good to know. So we'll be seeing a bunch of robots operating out in the world, and you'll have probably, I don't know how many people will be able to control each robot until they end up automating them. But that's interesting to see. So, okay, so we have a guy controlling that robot. So, yeah. All right, interesting.
So think of it as like a TV ad with a catalog component where I can choose on the Roku app.
All right, cool. So I got all I needed out of that one. I was just curious on how he was actually being used, and come to find out he's actually being used as a remote control, like a drone robot. So that's okay. That's interesting. All right, so we know that now Robot Riz or whatever, he is controlled by a controller like a drone. So we see how he operates and how he moves. I was curious on that one. I wasn't sure, but I'm glad I was able to get the clarification to know that he's being controlled via a remote controller like a drone. So we got that in there. Good. All right, so now we just seen Robo-Riz or whatever on Venice Beach talking and people playing with him remote control. Now we're gonna see the next step of artificial intelligence. So we're gonna see how this is going to be implemented when they add it into Protoclone or whatever you want to call it. We're gonna see the next step from the robots to a way more sophisticated looking version of a robot that's going to be way more human-like in the way how fluid its body movements are. So let's go ahead and hop on this next video that I have right here. You know what? Let me go ahead and refresh the screen before we actually do this. This one is going to be very, I think this will be I don't know. I mean, give it time. Maybe when they do like a Gen 2 or Gen 3 version of this, whatever version we're on now, this one is probably going to be the one that's going to be, you know, take over the world type thing. But anyway, I digress. Let's go ahead and take it up. Now you see him right here. Here he is right here. We're going to go ahead and watch this video and see exactly how this guy, thing, creature, it operates. So here we go.
Clone Robotics has just revealed a robot that looks, moves, and simply feels like us. They call it Protoclone. Its body is powered by artificial muscles, bones, blood, and even a beating heart.
Our vision for a musculoskeletal clone comes from a deep desire to make.
So we flew all the way to Wrocław, Poland, to meet the creator.
I'm sorry, I gotta run that back. One more time.
And even a beating heart.
Our vision for a musculoskeletal clone comes from a deep desire to make.
So we flew all the way to Wrocław,
Poland to meet the creators of Protoclone and be among the first ones to see it in action. Subscribe if you're curious. Years ago, Lukasz, now the CTO of Clone Robotics, was experimenting with synthetic muscles, and he stumbled across an unconventional design. No motors, no wires, just rubber tubes. It looked simple, but it turned out to be one of the most radical ideas in robotics: the McKibben muscle. Joseph McKibben, the man behind it, was a physicist who once worked on the Manhattan Project. But his most important invention had nothing to do with atomic bomb. It came from a personal tragedy. His daughter has lost the use of her hands, and McKibben devoted himself to build an artificial muscle so she could use her hands again. Over time, McKibben came up with something new: the pneumatic muscle.
So you have an inner rubber tube, and when it's pressurized with fluid like a balloon, it expands radially. And when surrounded with a inextensible textile braided sleeve, you're able to constrain that radial expansion of the balloon to produce a linear contraction with a pulling force in a single axis. You get to mimic a lot of the properties of human skeletal muscle this way.
So, with a tube and some air, McKibben managed to replicate some of the nature's most complex mechanisms. This was life-changing for his daughter, and she was now able to eat and even write. This invention became known as a McKibben muscle. Lukasz was fascinated.
So here's my thing, just a quick opinion. At this point in life that we're in, how do we know like the backstory isn't like an AI made up story in these photos? Like this girl here is like a made up AI image. Like how do we know that that's not real? Like in today's society, like it's hard to believe anything, but let's continue.
These muscles were cheap, light, and easy to make. But soon he hit the hard truth. These muscles were weak. You know, like a balloon filled with air. And maybe the story would have ended there, if not for someone else. That's when Danush, Clone Robotics' CEO, stepped in to turn it into a working humanoid. Together, they started to search for a way to make artificial muscles truly powerful. The clue came from hydraulics, because water, unlike air, carries real strength. What's interesting, their early prototypes used air, but air was too weak and needed a bulky compressor. A hydraulic pump, on the other hand, fits neatly into the abdomen. That's why today it fully runs on water. The result? A new artificial muscle they called myofiber. This was their first real breakthrough. And it's really impressive and powerful. Imagine a muscle weighing just a gram can lift more than 300 times its own weight. The myofiber muscles are also fast, contracting in under 50 milliseconds, almost as quick as ours. And based on these new muscles, they started to build the hand.
But when we first started the company, we started by focusing on making a durable human-level robotic hand. And within the first 18 months of the company itself, this is something we managed to do, and something that I'm very proud of.
8,000. So they're making robotics and they're using water. Water is the thing that's helping this thing kind of be extremely powerful and be able to do what it does. Now, there's a lot of water on this earth, if you didn't know. So they're going to have an endless supply of water. I'll tell you that much. So they are, my opinion, if water is going to be one of the main things used for robotics, I don't know how this is going to play out, but if, according to what they're talking about, water is soon going to be taxed to an extreme level, because the water is going to have to go to these clone prototype robots as opposed for human consumption to live. That's my opinion. I don't know. I'm just looking at how things are moving. I don't know if I'm right, but I think I am. But we'll see how life goes. Here we go. Let's continue.
And that's no coincidence. The hand is one of the most complicated parts in the human's body. It would seem impossible to replicate. It's a hand packed with dozens of muscles, ligaments, and joints. It moves with 27 degrees of freedom. No other startup has mastered the hand at this level. It's strong enough to lift up to 15 pounds. And it can actually use human tools. So they started with the hand first. 3 years later, they revealed the clone torso. And in 2025, finally, the full android with legs, Protoclone. I saw it myself, live. And it's seriously impressive. We've been prepared for this moment our whole lives. The Matrix, Terminator, Westworld, and now it has become reality.
Our vision for a musculoskeletal clone comes from a deep desire to make an android that can do anything a human can do. So a functional human clone.
Just think about it.
Now just think that you have this robot though, but this robot's going to be extremely strong. You know what I mean? And if it can do anything a human can do, so far it sounds like everything that they're mentioning on this robot it's way more powerful than a human. So you're going to have problems trying to deal with this thing. This woman's voice is not very appeasing. It's kind of hard for me to watch this video because her voice is so monotone. But I'm going to have to skip through this. But this is the last video of the show, so I'm going to sit down and take my time with this one.
If you want to build the most advanced, perfect robot, why not to copy the most advanced machine that exists today? Us. Our body was perfected by millions of years of evolution. It's flexible, strong, and extremely energy efficient. We are far from the most perfect mechanism, but we are the most universal one. And that's exactly what Clone is targeting. What you see here isn't just a frame, it's a complete skeleton. With over 200 bones and more than 1,000 myofiber muscles, it mimics the muscular, skeletal, circulatory, and even nervous systems of a human. The bones are 3D printed from a lightweight polymer. The beauty of this design that the muscles even attach at anatomically accurate points, giving it natural motion and range, so it moves just like you. If we go down, inside the rib cage sits the valve system, almost like synthetic organs. And at its core beats a heart. A hydraulic pump. Instead of pumping blood, it pushes fluid into the artificial muscles, filling them with pressure so they're able to contract and move just like real muscles do. What's interesting, the water isn't just for movement, it cools them down. Just like in our own bodies, where blood flow regulates heat. And here is where the story really splits. Most humanoid robots today, from DnL&x, Figure, Tesla, they are amazing. But they depend on motors, which comes at a cost. Motors drain batteries, add weight, and make movement stiff. Clone decided to break from this path, and instead of motors, they are using synthetic muscles, as we discussed. What's interesting, this single decision changes everything about their robot. The muscles give it more degrees of freedom. Protoclone has over 200 degrees, while its competitors between 30 to 60. Could this be the iPhone moment in a market full of Blackberries? I'm excited to see what you think in the comment section below. And remember...
Yeah, so this is going to be a pretty tough situation moving forward. Now, I don't know when it's going to hit. You know, robotics is going to be... Well, this is going to be a little bit down the line. I think this might take 10 years till we see it. But nonetheless, when this hits the scene, I think water is going to be a serious problem because this thing runs off of water. So when this hits the scene, just know water is going to be an issue. And it's probably going to be obsolete for humans and plentiful for the robots. All right, we're going to skip forward to look at the brain, intelligence, and key applications to see what this thing's all about. So let's kind of look at this little part right here, then we'll wrap this up.
So, how does it perceive the world? It turns out just like us. It's packed with sensors all over its body. It has 4 depth cameras in the head, over 500 sensors across the body, including 70 inertial sensors to track movement and 320 pressure sensors built into the muscles and skin. Those pressure sensors are critical for allowing it to grip objects gently, without even thinking. Without them, a robot could simply crush a cup. Just think about it. It's not just bones, muscles, and sensors. It's all linked and working together as a single system. But what a body without a brain? Especially when we love deep dives into hardware on this channel. Let's have a look what drives it. Inside the skull, an NVIDIA chip does the thinking. Think of it as a supercomputer packed into something the size of your hand.
Today, it's just the NVIDIA Jetson chip that controls the entire robot. Over the longer term, it will end up using ASICs across the body, kind of like in the human body where you have neurons near the heart, you have neurons at the wrists, and I expect that in the long run, we may end up adding ASICs in various parts of the body.
And on the background, they are training the foundational model that controls vision, move, and reaction in real time. The critical part here is to be able to process sensors, vision, and even multiple AI models in real time inside the robot's skull, so it can react instantly without waiting for the cloud. And that's it. What is left is to wrap it in skin, get the blood flowing, and then just send it back in time. Here is a big question. What is the point of building a human-like body and brain without a purpose? And this is where things start to get really interesting.
The clone is the ideal human companion. Your clone is your complement that fits into your life like a perfect jigsaw puzzle piece. So you wake up in the morning and your clone is at your bedside with a tray and breakfast bites and an orange juice. And you get to your workplace and your android is acting as your assistant, helping you make your job super easy, whatever your job may be. This is sort of the android companion lifestyle we envision at Clone, really transforming every aspect of your life, being as sort of attached to you as your iPhone is today.
For their first fleet, the robot will simply learn from you. Imagine it stands behind you, watching what you do, and then just copies that. Imagine it can cook your favorite dish just the way you like it. You can talk to it in natural language, and it can do household tasks we all hate, like dishwashing and laundry. What a dream come true. But before this beautiful vision becomes real, they first have to solve quite some technical challenges. And the first one is obvious: walking. Right now, the robot is still hanging on cables from the ceiling. They are in the process of teaching it to balance and walk on its own.
Today, the milestone that we're aiming for to, I guess, blow everyone's minds, including ourselves, is getting to the untethered walking biped. So, like, really the first synthetic human that is mobile, walking on its own. It doesn't require any kind of cable to the grid or tube to a central pressure source. That involves not only, obviously the physics simulation and software required to train it to walk, but also requires a ton of compactification and clever arrangement of the valves, batteries, hydraulic power unit, which includes not only the pump, but accumulators, a reservoir, a ton of tubing and cabling, and getting all of that fit inside of the limited volume we have inside of the ribcage. So this is largely the focus of the company outside of continuing to improve the biomechanics of the robot.
This is one of the hardest challenges in robotics.
Every time.
Okay, so there it is. One of the hardest challenges in robotics, where they're basically saying that they are going to figure out how to have that thing walking on its own and talking with no one helping it. Because the last robot we saw, they had a remote control like a drone robot. This one, they're trying to get past that. So shout out to them for that video right there. Whew. I tell you what, That lady was pretty hard to listen to. I cannot lie. It was pretty tough. But with that being said, man, that was a good video to see. So just to see what the direction that we're headed in with this AI stuff, as you can see, they're not kidding around. We got robots and we got Robo Riz, you know, being self-controlled, because I also showed you the robot dog that is kind of like patrolling apartment complexes that they had, where, you know, it can see where you're going and it's really loud and it can alert authorities, and it basically just records you, you know, as it walks around everywhere. And then you see the Robo Riz, who people are looking at it as a fun thing, but then you got the Protoclone, who's going to come and take it to the next level, and that's when things are going to get super, super real. So be ready for that in the future, because that's what's coming. And hopefully you put your money into some companies, because those stocks are finna go crazy, bro. They finna go through the roof. They finna be, yeah, they finna go ham. With that being said, man, that's going to be it for today's show, man. Hopefully y'all enjoyed today's show. Hopefully you had a good time, and thank you for everybody that tuned in today and then put input in. I greatly appreciate y'all. I'm going to check out some of the comments I see over here. Mikhail, whatever, talking about a Discord server that you have. I don't know, you might be a bot, but we'll check it out and see. But with that being said, man, we're going to go ahead and dip on up out of here and get up out of here. I greatly appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all tomorrow on the next live stream that we're going to have. We'll probably do tomorrow's live stream. Well, we'll see. We might be a little bit earlier than we were today. But until then, man, we'll catch y'all out of here. We'll see y'all later on the next show. Enjoy this sexy Latino on the way out the door. Peace.
Follow D. Elliott Fitness for the kind of workouts you'll never forget.
Then buy the dream. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay. Don't wait no nigga and I'm in the booth playing beats. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay. Don't wait no nigga and I'm in the booth playing beats. Counting cash and smoke green, can be blowing cloud like a smoke machine. She got notes to sing. Bumblebee ass, y'all know it's thing. I'll plug your bitch like a 6-string. Jordan with the bitches got 6 rings. Smoke till my bitch a split screen. The rest with pain pills and sipping lane. Riding dirty, but I'm extra clean. Lyrics nice, but I'm extra mean. All-star heavyweight like Wolverine. The bitch nice like she open me. I flip money like Clover G. Gang hustle like T.R.A.P. Hard baby like D.I.G. Acronym like K.R.T. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on lock. In the booth, playing beats, the game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. Don't wait no nigga and I'm in the booth, playing beats, in the beats like R.P. No hard shit, where your artery. Cutting up, who's sharper than me? Rolling up accordingly. Pulling hoes, no sorcery. Rapping like y'all forcing me. If I ain't right, then it's forgery. Nigga selling to the rock like a Flores beat. Lyrical monster on the Lord of Beats. Text nigga, my bitch Georgia Peach. Pimp tight nigga, I do more than cheat. Cold like D-Wade, I ignore the heat. Bitch, I'm on way, hit the short for reach. Money jumping like the nigga on the sneeze. Cause the bad J's, get me on the beat. Bitch, I'm always winning like what's the beat? The game on.